The United States Federal Court in New York has ordered the release of $13.75 million to victims of human rights violations during martial law in the Philippines. Lead counsel Robert Swift says human rights victims who won the class suit against the Marcoses in Hawaii are set to receive $1,500 or roughly 78,000 pesos each. The settlement comes from proceeds of the sale of high-value artworks seized from the aid of former First Lady Imelda Marcos. The agreement stipulates that human rights victims will get $13.75 million, while $4 million will go to the Philippine government. The Office of the Solicitor General earlier said it does not approve of the agreement because it found its terms disadvantageous to government. Malacanang, for its part, says the Philippine government should be the one to decide on the settlement issue.
I will have to ask him his reasoning for the opposition or blocking. It's the Philippines that will decide, Philippine government. Do they have jurisdiction over us?
Here to talk more about the implications of the order to distribute settlement proceeds to victims of human rights violations of the martial law regime, we have with us reporter Jan Vic Mateo, live from the Philippine Star. Jan Vic, who exactly are eligible to receive this $1,500 per victim fund?
Robbie, those who are eligible to receive the $1,500 are those who are part of the class action suit that was filed in Hawaii and successfully won, led by lead counsel Robert Swift in 1995. Swift says that around 6,500 members of the class action suit are expected or are estimated to are eligible to receive the said fund that will be distributed starting next month. Robbie.
Okay, now, John Vic, it seems that there's some things still to iron out with regards to government's position on this. Could you expound a bit on the New York court's ruling on the Philippine government's opposition to the settlement?
Robbie, if we can give some background on this, the Presidential Commission on Good Government initially engaged in negotiations for the said settlement. However, after the settlement was agreed upon by all the parties, the Office of the Solicitor General eventually said that they do not approve of the said agreement because they find it disadvantageous to the government. So the PCGG represented, the Philippine government, including the PCGG, later informed the New York court that they do not approve of the settlement, which the PCGG initially approved on. The New York court held a hearing last Tuesday to discuss the Philippine government opposition, but the judge ruled that the Philippine attorney in New York, this is quote, had actual and apparent authority to bind the Philippine Republic to the settlement, meaning despite the opposition of the OSG, the New York federal judge eventually decided that the agreement, the settlement that was initially agreed upon is already binding and can proceed. Robbie?
All right, let's talk about the money itself, the fund for the reparations. This particular tranche, where is the money coming from? And are there other parties expected or expecting to get some share in the agreement?
The fund that will be distributed came from the proceeds of the sale of the paintings that were seized from Vilma Bautista. She is an aide of former First Lady Imelda Marcos. So the New York court took custody of those paintings and were later sold. So those proceeds will be the ones that will be divided among the parties. This fund totals to about $20 million. So $13.75 million will go to the human rights victims, while $4 million will go to the Philippine government. The remaining proceeds will go to other parties, including the estate of Roger Rojas and the Golden Buddha Corporation, who allegedly discovered the Yamashita treasure and claimed that the government of former dictator Marcos seized those treasure for himself. So some of those funds would go to the estate of Mr. Rojas. Robbie.
Okay, is the Office of the Solicitor General still a factor here? How will the proceeds even get to the claimants if the Solgen is still opposed and blocking these funds? And for that matter, remind us again, what was the reason for blocking the funds in the first place?
For the release of the funds, it will be released to the camp of Attorney Robert Swift by the New York court. So it will happen. The release of the funds will happen in the U.S. because currently it is the New York court that has jurisdiction over the said funds. Now it will be Swift who will come up with the checks of $1,500 that will be distributed to the claimants starting May here in the Philippines. Now, we don't know if the Philippine government will move towards blocking that distribution that will happen on May 1. Robbie?
Okay, maraming salamat. That was John Vic Mateo of the Philippine Star. Thanks for joining us on The Big Story.